What's up, guys? This is Brian Shaw. I'm here with the Power Project, and I just got a text from Mark Smelly Bell trying to get ready to deadlift, and he's hitting me up. He just called me a big ogre, which obviously makes me laugh, but he's always talking shit like that, trying to bring me down just to make himself feel better, you know? So the great part of being able to take over the Power Project is being able to answer questions, and obviously Mark does a good job of that. But I'm going to handle some questions that I don't think Mark's an expert on and help you guys out. So the first question here that I got sent over is, should you train your grip the same day you train your deadlift? Will that support maximum recovery of your grip? It's a good question. I mean, grip strength is obviously a limiting factor, especially if you're doing a deadlift without straps, or, you know, for strongman, something like a frame carry or farmer's walk. If your hands simply aren't strong enough, you're not going to be able to pick up and hold on to what you need to hold on to. So training the grip is very important, and it's often forgotten in a training plan. So I would say that, you know, obviously that question was training the grip the same day as a deadlift. I would say no, simply due to the fact that if you deadlift, you can deadlift for a long time without straps. If your grip starts to fail, you can throw straps into your training. And all of your accessory work on that day for your upper back, any type of straight leg work, you can do all of that without straps. So you're working your grip without really working your grip, so to speak, on all those accessory movements. So inevitably, you're going to build your grip up. Just throw the straps away. You know, if you're doing anything like shrugs or, you know, like I said, any accessory work, just don't wear straps for any of that, and you'll build your grip up that way. As far as a grip training day, I would recommend training the grip on a day when you don't use it. So you could do it with squatting, for example. If you're only squatting, that's a good day to train your grip because you don't need your grip and it's not going to limit you at all. So I would do that, or throw it in on a completely different day during the week. You know, maybe if you have an off day where you're coming in and doing some, you know, just general fitness type of stuff, some movement stuff, you could also throw your grip in there. So the next question is, should grip training be done more than once per week? So kind of building on what I said in the previous question answer is that you can train your grip without really training your grip. So when you're doing, you know, any type of movement at all during the week, any type of training, just take the straps out and use your grip. So inevitably you're going to build your grip that way. But as far as grip training goes, I would say that training it specifically once per week, where you actually go in and attack your grip, and that's all your training, that's enough. Because the problem is your forearm flexors and extensors are not big enough muscles that they're going to be able to recover quickly. So if you beat them up constantly, you know, 2 times a week or 3 times a week, they're not going to recover, and you're going to end up having, you know, some type of pain, problems, whatever. So, you know, you need to treat the grip just like any other muscle group. So if you're working it hard, make sure to get some soft tissue work done on it. Make sure to do some recovery. Maybe stick your arms in a ice bath. You know, that's going to make your grip recover faster. But, you know, you don't want to hammer it too often. You know, just because you're pissed off and you want to get your grip stronger, that doesn't mean that overtraining it is going to get you further. Training too often with your grip will actually make you take steps backwards. So it's a calculated thing with training your grip, and you have to listen to your body, and your body will tell you if you're ready to train, your grip will feel good and solid. And if you don't feel good and your forearms are sore, all of us know what it feels like to have a sore, flexors, extensors, your fingers are beat up or whatever. All of us know that. So when your body's telling you it's not ready, that's a good day to back off on the grip training. So the next question here is, how do you plan out grip training so it doesn't impede on other lifts? And really, I've kind of touched on that a little bit. Really, you know, if you have, for example, a big pulling session or upper back session, you wouldn't want to train your grip just before that, because it would take away from the kind of weight you could lift in those other lifts. So you certainly wouldn't want to do that, because that would definitely impede other lifts for sure. But you know, it's you know, one of those things when you're planning out your actual grip training, it's just like any other lifting, right? So you wouldn't necessarily go into the gym and do the same squat routine every single week, and you wouldn't do the same deadlift routine every single week. So when you're thinking about it, you know, you could start, there's a few different ways you can break this down. One is obviously, and there's a few different ways to train your grip. So one is crushing. So obviously just think about crushing something. Another is pinching. And then you want to also not forget about the extensors, right? So with the grip, so commonly your flexors get overtrained. So if you're always grabbing, holding on to something, your flexors are going to take the brunt of that, and the extensors don't get any work. So, you know, a simple way to work on the extensors is just to take a rubber band. There's several different places that sell bands as well that you can expand your hand. The other thing that I've done is get a bucket of sand, stick your hand into it and extend your hand, then pull back up. So that's another good way, and really, you know, working with the sand can really work your hands out as well. Simple thing, 5-gallon bucket and some sand, cheap, easy, and it's a good way to train too. So if you're working on those extensors, it's really gonna take some pressure off of, you know, the flexors in your forearm, and inevitably your grip is gonna get stronger as well. So, you know, if you work 1 week on a crushing movement, the next week on a pinching movement, maybe the next week you focus more on extension, that's a simple, you know, planned 3-week cycle there, and then go back to crushing, you know, on the 4th week or something like that. But really, if you have a weakness, you know, a lot of people, their thumb is the weakness, and they don't identify that. You know, doing something like a pinch grip where you put the thumb separate and you grab a block weight, something like that, that can really build that up and make your hands a lot stronger overall. And it's not so much always your first 4 fingers, that you really need to focus on your thumb strength as well to have a good, solid overall grip. So the last question here is, how do you train your grip without it killing your elbows and forearms? So we touched on this briefly in the last question where, you know, I said you need to work on the extensors as well. But if what'll happen is you'll start to feel a lot of pain at your elbow if you're overtraining the flexors. So doing the extensor work, and extensor work doesn't need to be heavy necessarily. I mean, you could do higher reps. You know, sometimes if you're using a band or something like that, or that sand I said, you know, doing 20, 30, 50 reps with that, just getting a lot of blood in there and getting that working will alleviate a lot of that pain as well. So you want to balance it. It's just like, think of it in terms of, you wouldn't want to overtrain your chest compared to your upper back, right? So you want to have balance across a joint. You know, it's the same thing, quad versus hamstring. You don't want to have a dominant quad and your hamstring strength is lacking. So think of it as the same way. You know, if your flexors are so strong, you want your extensors to be strong as well. So it's really simple, but if you balance that out, that'll take away a lot of the pain and problems with training your grip, and then having these, you know, pains around your elbow or in your forearm. And then the other way really is doing the recovery work, because if you're gonna hammer your grip and ask it to grab and hold on to all these things, just get some simple soft tissue work done, or do it yourself. There's a lot of different tools out there that you can roll your forearms, you can work, you know, some kind of stick roller, whatever you're gonna do and actually use, that's what you wanna get, and really just work on that. And then something as simple as some ice, really. I mean, it's something that once you're done training, if something's bothering you, it's telling you that something's wrong. So you have to do something to fix that problem. So if your forearm's hurting, then you need to do either some soft tissue work, get it to release, get some ice, hot, cold, you know, use something, do something, because if you just let it go, it's gonna get worse and worse and worse. So if you're training your grip and your forearms aren't feeling like they're recovering, I would say that the next step then is just to take a back off week, let your grip recover, and then come back. I mean, typically, you know, for me, if I'm hammering my grip really hard, if I take a break for 2 or 3 weeks, that's when my hands feel the strongest. So especially if you have a contest or something coming up, I would say train your grip hard and then back off, deload, and your hands will inevitably get stronger at that point as well. So that's it for the Power Project. Strength is never a weakness, and weakness is never a strength. We'll check you later.
Thanks for watching the last video, guys. If you want more content, be sure to subscribe, like, share it. Leave your comments below on what you thought. If you want to see more content from the strongest gym in the West, be sure to click up here. And if you guys want the best gear in the powerlifting game, all the strength sports, Slingshot, right over here.